I still remember the day I first saw the warehouse, a hulking gray monolith that rose like a mistake at the edge of my property. It was Karen's latest power play. She'd slipped a special HOA permit through the board to erect the structure halfway onto my land, arguing it was community storage for seasonal decorations. The day the first delivery truck rolled in, I watched from my porch as she beamed in her designer gloves, clipboard in hand, snapping photos of the finished foundation. My heart sank. That warehouse sat on the soil my grandparents tilled for decades. My backyard turned into a concrete slab by her entitlement. I wanted revenge, but revenge for me meant reclaiming agency, not destruction. So I hatched a plan she'd never see coming. I spent weeks quietly assembling funds, researching commercial property law, and lining up a silent business partner interested in speculative real estate. Then, on a rainy Thursday morning, the title deed arrived at Karen's door. I'd purchased the warehouse and its entire parcel, legal and binding. Her office, her lauded community resource, was now mine. I showed up unannounced at the board meeting that evening, holding the deed aloft. Shock rippled through the room. Karen's smug smile froze into disbelief. But this is HOA property, she sputtered. I shook my head. Not anymore. I've acquired the parcel from the previous landowner. It lies within my boundaries now. The board chair stammered, but the deed was clear. The room fell silent, the only sound the distant rumble of thunder. Karen's flush matched the storm clouds as she realized her power had evaporated. The next morning, I parked a moving van in front of the warehouse. As she arrived to resume her duties, she found movers hauling out her furniture, filing cabinets, and the oversized desk she'd insisted facing the entrance. "What are you doing?" she shrieked. I stepped out in waders and handed her a branded hard hat. "Welcome to your new workspace, the Hen Haven Co-op." I gestured as workers assembled sturdy wooden roosts, nesting boxes, and a heat lamp inside what had been her sleek office. A dozen chickens clucked and pecked around Karen's overturned swivel chair. "Cluck away," I said, striding past her. "Your HOA dictatorship ends where your coop begins." The scene drew neighbors like moths to a barn lantern. Some cheered, others gawked, but all eyes were on Karen, who stood in rubber boots, arms akimbo, feathers falling from her glossy blouse as a curious hen hopped onto her desk. Then came the twist. Mrs. Patel, owner of the local farm supply store, arrived driving a flatbed loaded with feed bins, waterers, and a custom-run chicken tractor. She announced, "I'm donating these to the new coop on behalf of everyone tired of petty HOA tyranny." Karen's expression curdled as the community watched her dethroned. A child ran past, holding a sign, "Karen's Clucking Club." By midday, I had posted a friendly sign at the warehouse gate. "Chicken coop tours. Saturdays at noon, free breakfast." Neighbors lined up with camera phones and egg cartons in hand. Karen tried to board up the office windows but found her keys had been reprogrammed, lost access when ownership transferred. Frantic, she pounded the door, but the chickens inside clucked louder, as if mocking her. The board chair consulted the HOA bylaws, only to find that none covered private acquisitions. Karen's permit was void, and she was given a notice: cease and desist all HOA functions from this site. The real kicker came that afternoon when I invited the local news crew to film an egg toss contest on the warehouse rooftop, eggshells smashing against the industrial metal as Karen looked on from below. A drone captured her beaten posture against the coop's wire mesh, her clipboard discarded like yesterday's news. In the shadows lurked a county zoning officer, summoned by my neighbor's tip. He stepped forward and declared the warehouse's original permit fraudulent, ordering an immediate investigation. Karen's empire of permits collapsed like a dry henhouse waiting for rain. That evening, as the sun broke through clouds, I handed Karen a fresh dozen eggs in a woven basket. "You'll need these," I said softly. She took them, her shoulders slumped, eyes downcast. A final twist. She lifted one egg, held it gently, and murmured, "I never realized a home needs life, not metal walls." A tear shone on her cheek as she placed the basket on her desk-turned nesting box. Now, dear readers, I've shown you my 5 acts. The shocking build, the counterstrike, the climactic showdown, Karen's downfall, and the bittersweet ending. Was turning her office into a chicken coop the perfect foul play for petty HOA tyranny? Or did I cross a line from justice into humiliation? Share your thoughts. Excellent verdict or rotten move? But the story didn't stop at sunrise. In the days that followed, the converted coop became an unlikely epicenter of community engagement. Children pressed their faces against the wire mesh, wide-eyed as hens pecked grain and clucked contentedly. Local chefs arrived to select the freshest eggs for Sunday brunch events, and farmers from neighboring towns dropped by to trade tips on coop management. Even the mayor stopped in for a tour, applauding my creative repurposing of industrial space. Karen, once the face of HOA enforcement, was now the face of a new volunteer chicken-keeping collective, leading weekly workshops on poultry care. Her clipboard was replaced by a straw sun hat, and her sunglasses by safety goggles used when tending to the roost. A surprising twist came when Mrs. Patel, the market owner who'd banned Karen, approached with cartons of free-range feed and an offer to sell the coop's eggs at her stall under the label Coop by Karen. The irony was not lost on anyone. Karen's name now emblazoned the very produce she'd once policed. She beamed as neighbors snatched cartons and proudly explained the coop's Women in Wire program, giving local women discounted education in poultry science. Meanwhile, the zoning investigation uncovered systemic flaws in the HOA's permitting process. The county issued a scathing report, mandating all HOAs to renegotiate boundaries and secure public comment before construction. Karen's permit abuse became a cautionary tale cited in municipal training sessions across the state. She was invited to testify at the county's planning commission, sharing her journey from authoritarian to advocate. As she spoke with a soft tremor in her voice, she reminded officials that engaged citizens and transparent procedures are vital to prevent overreach. Back at the coop, I devised a rotating schedule so neighbors could take turns collecting eggs and cleaning nesting boxes, fostering shared responsibility. Karen's knowledge of HOA procedures proved invaluable in managing volunteer signups and handling disputes over feeding times. The coop's open-source model was eventually codified in a community playbook titled From Steel to Feathers, Adaptive Reuse for Joyful Living, which I published online. It gained traction among urban planners and sustainability advocates. On the 6-month anniversary of the coop's establishment, we held a festival under strings of suspended chicken wire lanterns. There were chicken-themed art installations, hen-patterned quilts, and a keynote address by a renowned ethical agriculture scholar. Karen was the guest of honor, unveiling a bronze plaque that read, "Site of reclaimed rights where iron became life." As applause erupted, she raised a basket of the coop's finest white eggs and offered them to the crowd. In a final reflection, I realized that my act of reclaiming the warehouse had morphed from simple revenge into a catalyst for civic innovation. What started as a struggle over land rights grew into a vibrant cooperative experiment in community resilience. Karen's transformation from petty enforcer to passionate steward embodied the narrative that conflict, when channeled, can yield fertile ground for growth. So, dear readers, reflect once more. Did my purchase and coop pivot elevate justice? Or did it convert rightful revenge into performative spectacle? Did chicken clucks echo louder than city council gavel strikes? Or did we risk trivializing serious civic engagement? Cast your vote and share your verdict, then remember. Sometimes the best coop is built on the bones of past disputes.